Alrighty fellas, hello hello. We're going to be having a look at a not quite a sub 60 run I don't think, and this is done by Mano. So I've been thinking about doing this for a while now, taking recordings from other players and with their permission going and making either YouTube or Twitch content, just running through, giving good feedback and advice on what they could do differently, what they could do better, little tips and tricks to improve, and just sort of critique the run and give feedback. That's all it is. So I'd like to do this a couple more times for different time brackets. I think I'm happy to commentate up and just up until sub 50. So if anyone at any point would like their runs critiqued, feel free to send me a DM and we'll have a look at some runs. But yeah, I don't know. I had a few sent to me, but this is just the first one that I thought I'd have a look at for now. Since it's kind of a borderline sub 60, he's pushing that key time barrier. I have had a little skim through the run, and I've got a couple of ideas as to what's going right, what's going wrong. But remember, we're looking at a sub 60 here with devout boots, boosted prayer, barrage stuff, just the normal. Nothing chin based here, nothing like double ancestral, anything odd these days, I suppose. And no Sanfuse to note. 4 brews is fine as well. 4 brews is like pretty standard, I'd say. Especially when you're healing with barrage, you don't need that much HP. But yeah, I think, well, I mean, it's a 60-minute run, so we should be here for a nice 65-ish minutes, having a little chat about what's going right and wrong. I'll start by saying I'm kind of a bit lost about the tile markers. Some of them obviously make sense, some of them are a bit confusing. And the very first thing off the bat is... Actually, to be honest, these first few waves I saw, these are fine. These first few waves are absolutely fine. But as we start to progress into early blob waves, one of the key things I've noticed is that he needs to start moving towards NPCs and being more aggressive. And aggression in the Inferno is something that is not easily learned. It takes a lot of time and a lot of practice to be confident. Aggression requires you to be confident. But we'll have a look at that in a little bit here. This is all pretty standard stuff, just early wave. This is the first wave where I would say that now is the time to start being more centralized as you start. It is just a singular blob, there's a lot of spawn locations. He does throw the T-bow hit, which is completely acceptable here, but in an ideal world he would have been able to be closer to it at the start. So let's say he gets all the freezes off, then he, you know, if you're one tick away, it's better to blow pipe than it is to T-bow. And good switches to follow up. These are very small time saves overall. We're talking like 1 tick. This here, another point of aggression. That was sort of a back away to the pillar to just maintain a sort of a feel of perhaps safety or to drag things closer, which in some cases is fine, but in this case, 2 NPCs out, full HP, full prayer. There's really nothing better to do than to run directly to that blob once the nibblers are dead on the east pillar, oh sorry, the west pillar. Very nice back kills. A slightly lucky start position after some client meddling. And yeah, good movement into the blob melee zone. This here is a small recurring issue as well with his procedure that he uses for barraging. I'm always very emphasizing of this kind of thing, but if you're barraging mini blobs and then the second you land your barrage you switch to your blowpipe, the mini blobs will still hit you and you will not have your crystal shield on. So it's very, very important that you wait that extra few ticks, because you have 5 ticks after you throw your barrage. Take a bit of time, just relax for a second, wait for that to fully come on cooldown, then switch to your blowpipe and begin your attacks. In this case, the correct thing to do, or the slightly better thing to do, would be to put on the Armadillo chestplate, the Anguish as well, wait 2 ticks, then go to blowpipe. This also gives you some time to sort of see what has been to see what's left in terms of the mini blobs. Gives you more control. So this will be a recurring thing that I can point out in a couple more waves. Melee start here. This is fine, central enough. That's actually, I think that's my start position that I use, so I would say that's pretty good. Some waves like this I start even further up, like almost directly on top of the nibblers, but it's not too big a deal. Especially with chins, you can get away with it. Nice barrages here, very good indeed. This is a sub 60 run, or a 60-ish minute run, and one thing to note for these is that, of course, yes, killing the melee is better if you kill it first than killing the bat. It will save you 2 ticks every single time, assuming that's the last 2 NPCs, since the melee has a 2-tick death animation that is longer than the other NPCs. If you want to have a look at like a close detailed example of that, I made a video like a week ago or something on that. It was like the latest vid. Just an interesting mechanic thing. Interesting path thing here, not to play. And once again I would try and wait for that melee to be dead. And in a more controlled manner, but just minor things here. Okay, start position was fine considering it was a melee and a blob. At this level that's fine. Not my choice of pathing in that case. I think it would have been better to stay over on the northeast side, or the northwest side there. You can still clump that, and the good thing is if you're not chinning, if you're barraging, it doesn't matter how your nibblers are clumped, how your mini blobs are clumped. As long as they are clumped, there's no like detrimental accuracy bonus by attacking the ranger, like there is for chins. But this is all good stuff. In terms of being more aggressive, that's an example of sort of underestimating how hard your blowpipe hits. And quite simply is solved by just watching your XP drop a bit harder, but again, minor stuff. That is a blob drag. And a nice little phantom to finish up. Okay, that's a warning sign. In the way I see it is that blob over there is a really, really nice safe spot for that melee. And the bats don't really matter that much, so I would definitely consider going over and standing next to that blob or killing that blob to be the better move in this case to save time and stack things better. It turned out fine here again. I mean, it's pretty minimal time loss. But there's plenty of ways to safe spot that melee on that blob. And there's plenty of ways to even safe spot the bats on top of that. Here again is another example of maybe trying to keep that melee alive a bit longer, or taking a hit and making sure you kill that nibbler last in order to save those 2 ticks again. These things eventually add up, of course. Those 2 ticks from the previous wave, followed by the 2 ticks here, 4 ticks, 6 ticks, 8 ticks. It's just how it is. Good decision here to just tank and kill. Oh, that's not a good decision. And did not quite kill it, unfortunately. That is unlucky. But I don't know. T-bone nibbler, I mean, maybe in the right circumstance, but I think it's probably best to avoid that. I imagine he has a suffering on. I thought it might be a Ring of the Gods, but I think he has a suffering, since that one died from, by the looks of it, a recoil. Yeah, I can't say I'm the biggest fan of that T-bone. I do think it's better in most cases when you have a west side nibbler to really prioritize it in the early waves. So for example, after that melee died, going over and blowpiping it and then running up to the southern blob may have been a better option, since you can use the south pillar to drag everything else in. But yeah, definitely some other options, definitely some other solutions to that wave. Yep, suffering on, okay, was curious. Maybe switching to Ring of the Gods. Ring of the Gods is kind of OP. Okay, I'm not sure if it was intentional to stay backwards in order to get Phantom Barrages, but he is full HP. There is travel time on barrages, so it's better generally to run up to your nibblers no matter what you're using, whether it be chins or barrage. I don't actually know how big the difference is for barrage timers. I know chins do matter, of course. Blowpipe is one of the few things that doesn't matter, which is why it's so nice as a last hitting tool. So we're back into the territory of very, very safe waves. We only have the ranger and a bat. It's all range stuff you can pray against, and running behind a pillar like that just to save like 1 or 2 HP drains or stat drains from the bat when you're likely to kill it in 2 hits. I mean, this is worth going back on to have a look how much time was lost. So for example, if you just barrage this and ran over to the ranger and then killed the bat on the way, we can even count the ticks how many are lost there. This is a good point. This is like a big one. Let's have a look. We'll count the rough ticks. Not going to get it exact, I don't think. I think 1 tick there, and 2, 3, 4, almost like, I don't know. Let's call it 5 ticks lost. That's a really big amount of time. That's a whole barrage. So the name of the game here once again is Aggression. Full HP, full prayer, you got full stamina available. Running away from 1 bat, not the play. And the same would be true here. So he does move over, but that is a T-bow! Yeah, I'm beginning to not be a fan of the T-bow hits. And that's another 2 ticks there. So yeah, aggression, aggression, aggression. It's not such a case that you'll have to be running NPCs in the later waves, but especially in the earlies to save time. If it's just bats and a ranger, if it's, let's say, a ranger and a melee, these things, they don't really pose that much threat to you. Melees can be juked, they can be trapped very easily. So be brave. Try and move towards NPCs as best you can. Got some questionable blob flicking. Don't T-bow it! No, the T-bow! That T-bow has not been reliable on Nibblers. Not that it's like that good, but yeah, I think every T-bow is a big time loss here. It is going to be much better to just send a blowpipe or prioritize it a little bit harder. This is one of those things that gets better with chins, of course, but it's an ever-prevalent issue. Very nice spec, that helps a bit. And we're into a nice alternation here to deal with the blob and the ranger. Perfectly fine, it works very well. There are some very big benefits to 2-ticking, of course, but that doesn't mean a good alternation isn't perfectly acceptable for a sub 60. Letting prayer get a little bit low here. Caught it just in time. Ooh, that's a painful one. So confirming XP drops here or paying a bit more attention to them is definitely going to be handy. Any T-bows? Oh, good blowpipe. Okay, that's more like it. Okay, I mean, it was a good blob safe spot. Given the circumstance, I think that's fine. Learning a very standard 2-tick pattern for a blob and a major or a ranger would be really nice. It's one of those things where if it sees you at the same time, then you can instantly start moving into the pattern and not have to worry about anything other than your own clicks. Awkward wave here, I think this is the best solution. I would have dodged up a little bit earlier so the other blob could pull itself in. But as long as he's flicking and it looks like he has been, this is completely acceptable. So hopefully the other blob comes in, he attacks it. I would have let it pull in a bit further, but that's fine as well. Okay, standard stuff, I'm liking it. And now he has access to the nibbler. Works for me, close enough. Less of a fan of the barrage. Would have gone for the blowpipe. Especially since he's 99, but again, this is fine. So now we have ranger and melee. Start to be more aggressive in my books. That's how I kind of feel about these waves. In this scenario, I would start pathing south. You can get an extra 3 tiles, and on some cases you can get an extra 4 tiles. So he's starting to do that. This is nice. They have to work a little bit on that pathing to get it just right. Only 1 tick loss there. That's fine. The intention is there, not quite the execution, but that'll come in time. But whenever I have melees stuck on the north pillar like that, I always move one set of tiles back, 3 tiles back, I guess, and then you can corner trap the melee to be even 1 more tile closer, and it's an extra convenient range for chins as well. This safe spot here is fine. That's definitely an annoying one because you can't quite tell when that melee is going to move past the bat. It is not, however, worth trying to dodge around the pillar like that. Every time you dodge around, it's just -1 tick. Blowpipe is one of those unfortunate tools that does not allow you to do that on that side of the pillar. You can do it on the east side, but not on the west side. Much better to just lose the tick running over there instead of losing one trying to drag stuff closer. Bit of an awkward barrage, but that's fine. As far as using safe spot there, I feel like that's another tick loss yet again for the same reason. It's not like the end times, but it's not ideal. But yeah, I think that's pretty nice progression so far. Hasn't touched the bruise, using divines as required, using stam as required. I feel like if I had to take a guess, we're looking at around 80, 85 agility, I don't know, something like that. Very nice tanking, very nice tanking. This is the right call here. Much like that earlier wave, after that melee's dead, perhaps the right thing is to go to the east, drag the blob closer while you kill the ranger, and then before you kill the ranger, go out and kill the blob. It's very, very annoying having a blob that far out. We're not gonna talk about the anguish that has not been on the entire run. And a nice barrage to finish the wave. Okay. Yeah, sometimes I miss having barrage accessible. It really does make life easy for HP. Good pillar usage for the safe spot here. That please die. This is the point where I'd probably be thinking about where I want to move. So this position, I'm going to pause back here again because this happens a lot. This position here happens so commonly where you have something trapped like this, and every time whenever I'm in this position, I usually move back around because this is a safe space now. So being able to move, let's say, to this side of the pillar, and then prepare to attack, or even waiting for the XP drop and instantly clicking that blob would have been fine, provided there was no nibbler on that side anyway. But I can even see on the minimap right now there's still a blob on that pillar, and I'm betting, I can see it over there, there it is. I was betting that might cause some issues, but no, that's okay. There's a little bit of a pathing trick you can do in order to catch NPCs on this side over here and still get to them on the right side on the pillar. And this is put simply, you go as far away as you can from an NPC, you start getting dragged back, and then you turn off your run and you continue doing the same thing. And if you turn off your run, then it's going to pull you back into the maximal range, and you can continue to shoot, and then you can try and move across to the nibbler directly. And that way you don't really, you're not one tile less. You're always the maximum distance. You're not one tile less than you should be. This isn't a big time loss or anything, but I would move around the north side to kill the blob. It just makes life a bit easy. Oh no, I stand corrected. He's doing a nice little double phantom. This is bigger brain than I was thinking. Let's see if it pays off. Decently, about 40 HP from the stack. Okay. See, I've forgotten how to use Blood Barrage, but that was big brain. With West Nibblers, I would have again, like, prioritized the West Nibblers. They are super annoying. And I believe there's 3 over there on that side of the pillar, so that's kind of a problem. Actually, it's no longer a problem. I take it back. The pillar is gone. But that is the reason why. Of all the pillars that it's hardest to protect, I find West really is the hardest. Because you use North so often to drag things around, then you can always move to the South while killing stuff that's trapped behind it, but you can't always go to the West. So I suppose the lesson here is protect the West pillar a little bit harder. And especially if you just have... If you have like a major and a ranger on you, sure. I mean, at that point you probably don't need your pillars as much, but you definitely shouldn't be. Okay, this is interesting. Well, that's a safe spot now. think going after those melees would have been okay there. I imagine he's being a bit more careful of his pillars after that last one just went down there. So we are looking at about 1730 here on the timer. Probably going to be a little bit over 1820 into majors. 1820-ish into majors, we'll see. Nice blood barrage, and this is a free wave. Alright, early wave's done. Definitely a few key talking points there though. Be aggressive in the earlies, have a think about what NPCs are going to spawn, and if you have like free waves where it's clearly just like ranger and bats, then start in the middle. If you have a melee only waves, start in the middle. Melees and bats, start in the middle. Anything like that is completely fine. You always have opportunities to heal with blood barrage. As far as blobs go, try not to switch into the blowpipe too early, otherwise you're going to be negating your crystal shield defense bonus. And after you cast your barrage, instead of going to blowpipe, switch into your your armadillo top instead, and that way you'll have a much nicer time when it comes to tanking mini blobs. Very nice bow hit. Very nice. Can I get these bow hits? Man. And a nice blowpipe to finish. Good. Ooh, okay, I take that. I take it back. There we go. The 1 HP major troll. This this same concept of aggression applies to majors in this sense. When you are in a position like this, and it's just the major and like a bat, it can be annoying, and sometimes bats will hit you for like a 30 HP, and it sucks, but I mean, time is something you can't get back, whereas HP is something you can. That's kind of the way to think about it. And as long as you're not like 10 HP, in which case I would be running away from bats, it's kind of fine to tank a few bat hits, that's all. Good blowpipe finish yet again. Yeah, this was another bad habit though, is sort of using blowpipe to, using T-bow to tag nibblers and stuff. I think the way to look at it, perhaps for an example with a nibbler, is if you're T-bowing that nibbler as opposed to blowpiping it, you have to save 3 ticks of running time in order for your T-bow to be better than your blowpipe. Well, I mean, you should actually have to save 4 ticks, I guess. Since blowpipe is going to have better KO potential, no travel time, that kind of thing. I don't know. I feel like T-bowing stuff from afar is just really bad unless it cannot be helped. There are definitely circumstances where it's okay to do so. It's just, I think the answer is that it's quite rare for that. Bow on a rampage yet again. Very nice. It would be a nice little thing to start moving towards that blob to get a little bit less travel distance. This is one of those little micromanagement things that saves on run energy as well. You can just turn off your run, walk east towards that blob. You don't have to be in like aggro range with it, but it might save you the 1 tick there. In this case, that was fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. And yeah, looking at that barrage procedure, got to keep that blowpipe off and that armor chestplate on. Hopefully that's something that shouldn't take more than a run or two to correct and sort of implement. Nice wave, nice hits. Don't T-bow it! Don't T-bow it! Hit the bat! Ooh, okay. Not quite ideal, but a good idea nonetheless. A slightly better solution here is to just kill the bat. Go east of the pillar. This drags the blob closer, this drags the major closer. And east side pillar usage is fairly rare at this sub 60 stage, but it's really nice once you start learning a few ways to use it. And I don't know, I'd happily have a bat respawn on me pretty much every wave if it meant that I had a much easier time dealing with blobs and positioning for other things. This is another case of checking your XP drops, making sure that it is actually dead. Yeah. So this is a really good. This was a very fast switch from him. So if we have a look at how he, can I make this slower? Hang on. Here we go. Watch this. So attacks, Blowpipe switched. Crystal Shield is now off, and they only attack now. So that Crystal Shield is by no means doing anything if you're in that position and you're switching that fast. So it's nice to have fast switches. It means he gets his barrage off with his full gear on, but then he takes his gear off because he's too fast. So got to slow down a little bit. That's kind of the thing here. Sometimes fast isn't good. Gonna drag the Major in. Yes. A bit of a misflick there. It's gonna be punished. Yep. But no biggie, no biggie. Again, you can get HP back, can't get time back. Those nobles were in a position where I would have happily moved to the bat safe spot and sent out a barrage in them. Not necessarily switching any gear at all, maybe just code aatykon if that. But I mean, this is completely fine. Alright, bat killing. That movement there again. Be aggressive, don't wait. I feel like this is going to be one of those very consistent points that I keep making, but there really is no need to wait on that. In terms of time saved by moving back, it's a time loss. A nice 200 barrage and into double blob. Is this? All right, so double blob wave. It's not necessary to do. This was actually a nice spawn, as it turns out. But a really nice thing to do for these waves, where you have Major and Blobbers to once again learn the 2-ticking from spawn. So especially when everything can see you, or like almost everything can see you, it's completely fine to just set up a 2-tick instantaneously and then just hold it, and it gives you good control over position and a free instant wave setup. Come on, Tebow, hit. So he's doing a really nice job of making sure those blobs are always corner trapped, so he gets that nice range only minion being able to attack him. But there is a good concept, of course, of attacking other things while the blob is dying. So that's something, when in a control position like that, it might be a nice idea to start incorporating the idea of getting 1 or 2 blowpipe hits on something else while the first blob is dying, for example. This is a nice free wave, thank you to Tebow. Missed the rigger flick, but the idea was good. And that Major should be dead. Good. I would probably go back into melee distance for a second here, just to be sure, but it's okay. Another idea, I know some people do this, I never personally did this, but when you're in waves like this, which are once again fairly free, in addition to being aggressive on the start, there's no real big need to put on a Crystal Shield when it comes to wave starts. It's not that Crystal Shield is bad per se, it's more that like the big benefit of Crystal Shield is for 2 circumstances. The first is when you're dealing with range and mage starts, and you want to always be praying mage in the start, you need to tank that range hit consistently. And that's why range defense always mattered so much on shields. And the other time is of course mini blobs, but given that the mini blob tanking is perhaps not going to plan. Oh, this could be bad. Eee, okay, got away with it. I lost my train of thought. I was enjoying the hit that was incoming. What was it? So, yeah, Crystal Shield, main 2 things is, of course, tanking the ranger hit off spawn. And the second one is the mini blobs. Making sure it stays on for them. Any melee prayers? Very good. Any phantomers? And a drag. You can hear the delayed death animation of that bat. That's plus 2 ticks, unfortunately. Just a little thing, but... Any melee off tickers? Yes, very nice. I don't know if it's just on my end or if it like... I can't actually hear the sound of his prayers telling on and off. I'm personally a very big I flick like almost purely based on my prayer sounds once I have everything set up in order. So I find this to be a little bit weird, but it doesn't make a difference as long as you hit your prayers. Nice melee death. A slightly annoying spawn, but this is a perfectly acceptable solution in terms of playing safe. I feel like once again the answer to this in terms of like being of a really nice solution is to just stand completely still and start two-ticking. The melee gets trapped on the pillar, the blob sees you, gets caught in the cycle. It's one of those things. Gotta give it a go and gotta try and learn it. It will help a great deal. There's another trick in this example. If you want those blobs to clump up as they normally do to be safe spotted, you can go back into the melee area, take the melee hit with prey on, albeit, and then move up a tile. So once they are stacked, they'll stay stacked even if you move up one. This is a bit of a no-no. Melees are notoriously hard to hit with barrage, even on task. That's also, yeah, that's like the worst thing I've seen in the entire video so far. I'm trying to not flame, but that was very special. This is just like a two-tick thing. This is just like straight up two-tick. But yeah, I mean, if you're in this position, sorry, in that last wave, you're in that position. The best thing to do is just... Oh man, any brewers? He's doing the right thing. Brew up. My god, brew. Okay. Man's alive, that's all that matters. But yeah, if you're in that last position, then send a brew. There's no harm getting some HP back, it makes life easier. This is just one of those things that will happen on sub 60 runs. There's always one or two waves that catch you off guard. So you should be able to just click an off tick here. Yep, perfectly fine. That's a nice little set piece on that side. Needs to redivine. I don't think I would have moved back away from that major. I mean, the bat dies pretty damn quickly, but nothing wrong with playing safer. Right, gotta get that divine up. Gotta get that divine up. Given that he's using barrage, the smart thing to do here would be to make sure... Oh, that's not good. So the smart thing to do here would be to do what he did on the earlier wave, and once again move back once this thing's dead and set up a nice phantom, which he's doing, so this is good. I probably wouldn't even... This is another case of not being necessary to put the crystal shield on. If everything's set up and you're praying range, then no need to have the negative on that, even if it is fairly small. Just minor things though. Here, a nice little east side attack into a 2-tick would be the play. But it's okay, the 1-tick warrior continues. Not flaming, it's completely fine. Good ticking his life though. Does make life very, very easy. Yeah, moving into range mage now, so here's the good stuff. South pillar about 40%. North is actually very, very safe right now, which is good to see. North is of course classically easy to save as opposed to south, so not too surprising here. This is fine, I guess. Gotta be careful of dragging into that melee like so. Okay. Right, let's have a look at supplies. Used one flubber. Used correctly, might I add. Nice little phantom, solid 6 HP. 7 HP? Quite a good heal, actually. And a nice free wave to send us into range mage. Alright. Would not have sent that barrage there. If you have a case where you really just have like a couple of HP on a couple of nibblers that are left over, and you really want that HP, I've always found there's no problem with just sending a direct blood barrage without switching Kodai and Occult. It's really optional, but the main thing is not to lose ticks while doing that. Because realistically speaking, 2 blowpipe hits is like 99% guaranteed to kill it, in the same way that a blood barrage is guaranteed to kill it. So you can either save yourself the time from switching from blowpipe there and back, and just send a good old barrage without putting anything on or off, just clicking the spell. Okay, range mage, here we go. 99 HP start, good, good, good. And an awkward wave to begin with. Let's see. So this is a really relevant factor when it comes to getting a bit faster. Ooh, little scary click. When something like that is dragging towards you, a lot of the time at this level it's pretty normal to just stay still and wait for things to drag, and that's not really going to be a terrible thing as long as you set it up correctly and you make sure that it's dragging correctly on the pillar. The main thing though is to make sure that you are always DPSing something. I mean, we always say that, you know, you should kill the major first to prevent respawns, and that's completely true. But it's also true that you can deal 99% of a ranger's HP and damage and not kill it. And it's still efficient to do that. It's not like you must attack the major as the sole thing. So, in a case like this, on the last wave anyway, going over and just blowpiping the ranger, completely fine. And you can even transition from blowpipe to T-bow on the major by moving across to the west side without losing ticks. So, it's very unlikely that you would kill the ranger in the first place, and it does make life easy in terms of actual time save. Gives you something to do, that's the main thing. As long as you're always attacking with one weapon or another, it's fine. From the position he's standing in right now, he needs to take one step further north and able to do this drag. So one further north allows you to continuously blowpipe and move across to the other side of the pillar. You sometimes see the speedrunner boys do it for a bit of fun, moving back and forth across the pillar, and it is 0 tick loss. I like the camera angle. A lot of people don't have nice camera angles and starts, but this is very good. Hey, the oh, that's a bit of a melee position. T-bow paid off in that case. Still would have been better to blowpipe, but it's not too bad. This is one of those cases where got to be careful of your... I was expecting this one. You have to be careful of your movement here because, yeah, once again, if you're on bat safe spot, sure, you're safe from the bat, but what are you losing in terms of time? The bat drains you 1 range level, which doesn't affect your max hit at all. And you lose 3 ticks getting to the ranger. I mean, not the best trade-off. This is actually a really, really awkward wave. When you're dealing with this at a sub 60-ish level, it's just annoying as hell because it may be something you haven't seen before, or it may be something that you are not familiar with or confident with, whatever it may be. This is actually a great solution. That was just about as good as it gets. There's one better solution than that, which is of course to move north and out to the east side really, really early while they're still dragging towards you, and that will allow you to get the major to attack you, then the ranger, as long as you time it correctly. So it's technically the second best solution, but it's a perfectly fine one. And the other example is a bit more advanced and a bit more scary to do, so that's something to try as you start progressing to sort of a sub 55 level. All in all, good wave solve. The pace can always be faster, but that's true for pretty much everyone. Sometimes you got to do a little bit of mental gymnastics, making sure things work out. Bit of an awkward spawn. That's one of those where there are ways to deal with it, but don't go after that nibbler. Kill Major! Nice. Yeah, there's a couple of ways to deal with this wave spawn that would involve directly flicking. Setting up that 2-tick, but even for me that's kind of a no thank you. This is fine. Pillar management at this point in time, I would say that the North Pillar is has sufficient HP in order to survive until the end. Especially when not using shins, it's fairly easy to have good pillar HP, especially North Pillar, due to the amount of ice barraging. But yeah, nothing wrong with that. Good wave. Okay. See those bats die. That Blob will see him. I wonder if he'll catch it. Not the biggest deal, but okay. Now Major is free. So that was mostly fine. I mean, Nibbler took a bit to die, so the main thing was that he was attacking stuff at pretty much every point. I've just realized he's 92 prayer, I can see it now. Which explains the restores as opposed to Sanfuse, since Sanfuse are only good at higher prayer. But I do reckon Ring of the Gods would be a nice upgrade. It's slightly less defense, sure, but I mean, he's playing well enough such that you can definitely get away with a Ring of the Gods. The nice thing about Ring of the Gods is that it allows you to set up things like 2-ticking and be a lot happier with that kind of thing. Just burning prayer for the sake of it. Nice idea there, getting a hit off with the blowpipe before moving across. That's exactly the right idea in terms of making sure to maintain damage output on something, no matter what it is. Pulling in the Ranger, great. Time is just about approaching 40 minutes at the end of this wave, so I'm not super familiar with the pace right now, but I mean, wave 56, for sub 50 runs we try to be at around wave 60 at 40 at 36 or something? I don't know. I don't really think it's fair to compare though. Oh, nice blob hits, there we go. Needed a slightly better follow-up, but the right idea is there. And again here the idea is fine, but the execution could be a little bit faster. This is also one of the points in the run where, in terms of when I'm like, at this point in the run you used up a fair amount of potions, and maybe this is just one of my pet peeves, but I always like to rearrange my potions such that I have all my brews, my restores, and my range parts and all that. I push them towards the top left of my inventory, and I stack them in such a way that I like, am used to them or like them. It makes it more accessible, and it means it's always in the same position that I'm used to. By no means like something necessary to do, just a little idea that sometimes helps people out, especially at Zuck when they're trying to jump across and grab a restore, and it's just like it's that extra 2 or 3 centimeters away and they just don't reach it. Not the most humble of spawns. That's gonna drag out. Ooh, gotta be careful there. Gotta start on that tile there, otherwise you'll get hit by that ranger. Don't T-bow! No! Why the pain? I'm fully convinced that T-bowing things badly in this run is like currently about 30 seconds to 40 seconds of time lost, as opposed to blowpiping them. and really just running towards them and, well, just piping it again. Oh, his PB here is actually sub 60 though, so this is, I don't think this is his PB run, but it's just an example run that he sent. But that's like a 3-minute time save straight up. Nice gut reaction there, moving to that corner. And good transition. Couldn't ask for more. I can always sympathize with a fellow mage and rigger flicker like this. Most people like to put mage on their quick pres. I think he does have it on his quick pres. He's probably like me, he doesn't really trust it. I'm very, very distrusting of my quick pres. Not quite sure what that was for. But yeah, prayer looking really nice. 3 brews is still good. I think 2 for Zuck, if not doing any crazy skips, is acceptable, so he's got that backup right now. Let that major drag across, and a nice free wave. Maybe it was just a bit of a fluke wave earlier where he wasn't attacking that ranger behind the pillar, because he's done it in the last few waves here where he's been actively damaging something while waiting for the major to drag closer. Nice idea here, moving across to trap the melee. I think the major just died fast enough that it wasn't a problem, but yeah. In this position, I would start moving to this tile over here. I haven't really been using my mouse a lot, but this tile over here is a nice one to move to, because now there's this 1-tick time loss moving across, whereas from there you can just drag around instantaneously. This does have the benefit of setting up the safe spot for the blob like so, but I mean, with blood barrage on these guys, it's like you're not going to start the wave. You're not going to start the next wave at lower than like what 80 HP if you get really unlucky. So little time save like that will also add up over the course of a whole run. Another slightly annoying wave. The best way to deal with it without any brain problems is to just go and kill that melee, go around, let the major dragon. That looks like he's... Oh, no, he's going for the nippers. Nothing inherently wrong with this, but I would say that for starters, it's more efficient to wait for the clump. And that pillar is definitely strong enough to last for another minute or two even, without much difficulty. And besides, we're on wave 61 right here, so a little bit of thought into maybe pillar management at this stage and whether it's worth trying to save it. The peace of mind, like the quality of life, peace of mind, whatever it may be, is definitely valuable though. It's not to say that that's not relevant. He's definitely been doing a good job of keeping his HP nice and high at the start of these waves. Good reactions here, good prayers. Yep, very nice. This is a bit of a dilemma. So I would just kill the bat. Took him a second, but there we go. Got it right. And now it's time to go kill Major. At 2 feels very, very spared. This man's bow is doing some work. Look at these hits. 3 hit. That's what we like to see. I think I'll do a bit of a summary at the end. I'll go through in like early waves, mid waves, late waves kind of thing, and then obviously Jadson's out. I'll be honest, I'm one of the worst players with a half decent time that does Jadson's out. I do it so badly. Oh, nice barrage there. Good hit. Ah, it's a melee drag though. Gotta make sure to stay next to melee NPCs, otherwise you know what happens. +2 ticks. Good wave spawn, free wave. Oh, don't kill the blob! No! I'm not sure if he realized at the last second there that he could reach the major, or if that was a mistake or not, but flicking that blob and just going after the major would have been a safe bet. Let's see if that blob gets respawned, I guess. And here, don't go after the nibbler, there's no need to do that. If you are going to go after the nibbler, it's better to do it with blowpipe. There's a few reasons why it's not good to do here, and the first is because that melee is about to dig, and here he is. And if you spend too much time killing that nibbler, then you can run into some issues with that melee being same ticked if you're unlucky. But the other thing is, of course, it's wave 63 now, and that pillar is going to survive just fine. Nice little movement there. Okay, good reaction. Here, definitely worrying about that pillar yet again. It's perfectly fine. It's like 40% with one nibbler on it. That pillar alone will last for 5 minutes. 5 minutes! It lasts a surprisingly long time. And I don't believe that major is going to take 5 minutes to die, so... If you're going to go kill it, blow pipe it, and if you're not going to go kill it, then don't worry about it. But he's through the rough waves now. A bit punished there for the wrong prayer, but it's okay. Nice spec to cover up for it. Here you want to be killing the melees first yet again, since melees have that longer death timer. And if you're going to heal off anything, make sure you heal off that ranger. This is not worth it. If you're really, I was thinking if you're really unlucky that melee might dig. Yep. No, definitely not worth to be healing like this. Bruiser there. Zucks can be done. And to be fair, I don't know what kind of skips he's doing at Zuck. If this man is army skipping, I wish him to be saving all the bruise he can do, but I have a feeling it's just a Jad and maybe healer skip, so we'll see. Scary wave. Doubly punished, but that's fine. I mean, this is fine, I guess. If you want to take out the nibblers, sure. Main thing would be to just go across and start hitting that major. Honestly, I would be willing to say that even with 3 nibblers on that, it's still not gonna die. By the time that major dies, there's no way. This man's bow pops off anyway. Look at this. Please don't tell me that's a 3 hit. 4 hit? 4 hit. Okay. Yeah, there's no way the pillar dies. I'll buy this T-bow though. I mean, I'll put in an offer. This is a good T-bow. This is the kind of T-bow that gets you no sets. Might have once belonged to Gino, who knows? Alrighty, onto the fun stuff. It is by no means necessary to try and get the pillar to fall down on a major, but it is up to 110 damage for essentially free. Which means, in a case like this, it's not necessary to start with bow out and start hitting majors. But, you know, for a spawn like this, where you absolutely cannot get that major onto that pillar, then you can switch into barrage if you really want to. But I don't know, I feel like being 80 odd, 85 odd HP before Jazz is perfectly fine. It's just one less thing to worry about though. Worst case scenario is you end up with a really nice major spawn on those pillars, and then you barrage like down to 1 HP and it's just free damage that gets lost. It's a good time save as well. The 110 damage is like probably 15 or so ticks from the T-bow, like 3 hits maybe average, 3 to 4 hits. That's a solid 10 seconds worth of time. This should hopefully be more of an RNG based thing. There are some minor ticks and things you can save during Jads. No chins here, so he's going to have to do manual tags. This is all fine. Yeah, really nice. Barraging might have been better there, but I mean, there's totally nothing wrong with doing that. I think 1 tick lost there. Maybe just try and be a little bit more careful on the actual run through, but that's 1 tick if anything. And otherwise, ooh, I do this a lot as well. I'm quite bad at that, but gotta commit. Holy crap, that's the largest barrage I've ever seen. 400 XP. Okay. I guess that's what an ank top will do for you. Yeah, Jad was 1 minute long, so it's a little bit slow, but that's probably no pegs and the few tick slots running through, along with the healer tag no chins. So pretty average, good stuff. Here, I think the play is to be a little bit more organized and a little bit more wary of when the healer proc is going to begin. And switching to blowpipe, moving into a favorable position that doesn't pull you into melee range of Jad would be a good idea. It's pretty minor, I mean, ultimately, as long as you maintain DPS, there's nothing wrong here, so. Yeah, supplies are looking absolutely brilliant though. 3 brews, 3 restores, that's more than enough for a Zuck or 2. Was that a 73? No way! So that's definitely a barrage clump for what it's worth. But I gotta get it right. Gotta get it early. Otherwise the 2 ticks from blowpipe is less. Or 4 ticks, I guess. I suppose I can actually do the bit of the recap for the waves at this point in time. While we're getting ready to go into to Zuck. So, in the early waves, the main thing to think about is on waves that are free, where you can pray against pretty much everything from the start. Be brave, be aggressive, and move out of your comfort zone as far as positioning goes. It's okay to try and learn to off-tick things like rangers and melees, and therefore starting up front. Make sure to prioritize west nibblers. They're very awkward to get to, and they're the ones that are going to cause the most issue out of anything. When dealing with blobs, make sure that you put on your blowpipe a little bit later, and this will ensure that your crystal shield stays on for the blob hits. It actually gives you that defense, because currently it's not. And instead of putting on the blowpipe first, you can put on the orbital chestplate first, and then revert it. Along with those 2 things, stop T-bowing stuff. T-bow bad. There are some cases, but in this run I saw maybe like 1 case where T-bowing was like viable or good, as opposed to just blowpiping and going over. Learning 2-ticking, of course, is extremely valuable, but that's something people do in their own time. I'll always recommend it, but I don't think it's a necessary thing. I think it's just a massive quality of life thing. So that is for Mano to do in his own time. As far as wave solutions go, mostly fine again. There's a lot of waves where he kind of backed up to the pillar and safe spotted bats where he could have just not done that. And each time it's 1 or 2 ticks lost on the exit out of that position. And what was the other stuff? Oh yeah, maybe switch to Ring of the Gods. Give it a go. Definitely no harm in trying a Ring of the Gods. Allows you to camp, pray, and focus on other things in the run, which is really nice. Any blowpipe speckers? Oh, nice. Good T-bow hits here actually as well. Very good T-bow hits. What about later waves? Later waves I think were pretty good actually in this run. There were no sort of alarm bells ringing about wave solves or things like that. There was that one particular wave where he sort of stood behind the pillar waiting for everything to drag in, where he could just be attacking the ranger, but in later waves he sort of dealt with that and ended up DPSing whatever was there while the major pulled in closer, so don't really think that's too big a problem. I think those are like the most important key things. I mean, other than the specific wave breakdowns, just for little tips and tricks and other solutions. I mean, that's an interesting blob barrage. That's it. Okay, so no jet skipping. I definitely suggest learning to jet skip. I'm of the opinion that once you're at a decent stage of Inferno like this, it's probably easier to do a jet skip than to not do a jet skip. It's less like annoyance during the actual Zuck to go and do this, as opposed to just letting it hit you and praying, because I don't know, Jad's really not a lot of brain power. I actually thought he would keep Jad alive, so that's, if anything, that means that this run could be refined to a sub 55 with a couple of these things, and a jet skip added. I will say I think the RNG on majors was generally quite good though, so it's hard to tell. Right, doing the right thing here. Waiting for that, not proccing it in any bad spot. This is a good time to proc. Let's try it. Let's see if he gets it. Should do. Gonna have to T-bar that again. Go for it. Come on. Okay, to be fair, without chins, that's an awkward one, so I think this is very fair to wait a bit longer. Hopefully he gets it on this one here. Come on, Bo. You can do it. Go for it. Ah, okay. Nah, I can empathize with this one a bit. I think it's worth doing those 3 bow hits. Sometimes you can get away with 4 if you're chinning, if you're really careful, but it is a little bit scary. Good understanding that he can't just go after healers directly. Gotta have that wait period. Looks pretty calm. I like it. Not quite perfect, but pretty close. This is like really safe stuff though. This is really safe stuff. Cool. Ooh, okay, I take it back. Take it down, come on. There we go. Alright, one little misstep, otherwise textbook. And I do not believe that there will be another set. So it should be just straight clicking from here on out. But yeah, all in all, I reckon 60 minutes is pretty much dead on about right for this kind of run. I would say that adjusting for some of the things I mentioned will bring it down by probably a solid 2 minutes, if not more. And as more wave solves are learned, as aggression levels hype up in the early levels, and like from Ranger onwards only and Major onwards only, those things will also save a few seconds here and there, so... But the other thing is, being a sub 60 I personally always say that that's the point at which people should start learning to use chins, so... It might be worth having a look at the barrage procedure, making sure you're getting that blowpipe on a little bit later for a couple of runs and see how it feels. But there's also definitely nothing wrong right now with adding in chins and giving them a go as well. Yeah, PB just under 60. Pretty nice run. Only one very Monka-esque moment in the early waves. And yeah, pretty good stuff. So hopefully I'll run a couple more of these like commentaries on runs over the next few weeks. We'll see how they go. We'll see how this one does, if people enjoy it and learn something from it. But yeah, this was from Mano. I'll leave his Twitch channel and I'll leave his Twitter in the description. So thanks to him for letting me use the clip. And that's all, I'm afraid. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.